Hi, I'm Patty Parsons, co-host of That's My Story. I am so pleased or excited to introduce today's guest, as he is a new person in my life and he is part of my new journey. Literally, he helped me buy my first car on my own. It is a used car, and I met Hami Sadegi as the owner of Unicar, or CEO of Unicar, and together we started a journey of discovery. Welcome, Hami, to That's My Story.
Thanks for having me, Patty. Means a lot.
You never know who you're going to meet, right? On that road.
I know. Yeah.
And literally, I'm on a road, I'm on a journey, and there you are as part of my journey, because I found myself in a situation. I'm sort of now alone, and I've never bought a car before on my own. And, I'm going to a used car dealership, and for some reason, sometimes there's a stigma. So I met you, and it was an incredible experience. So,
thank you, Pat.
Tell me, what is Unicar? How did you come up with the name Unicar? What is that?
So Unicar is basically a common baby of mine and my partner Cash, and we also have another partner who's more of a silent partner. He's more of the father of the group. He's in the background, always trying to help us out. I basically I reached a point where I felt like I'm ready to open a car dealership that's different than other dealers. Just like you said, there's a stigma with used cars, especially, and other dealers too. So we wanted to change the game. So then Cash and I joined with Mohammed and opened one, and the name actually was Cash's invention. We believe in the universe and its laws and its karma, and we believe that cars are for everybody. So uni comes from universe, and cars are just cars. And yeah, we started around 4 years ago, and now we are here.
And you're right on Highway 48 in Sutton, which is fantastic, because I had to think I was going to go so far afield, and there you were, right in the corner. Like almost like High Street in Sutton. How did you end up there? Was there a reason you chose Sutton?
I think there is a reason that we would never know, but I'm glad it happened. We searched for a lot of places. The main important thing was the zoning. We couldn't get zoning. We searched and researched for months and months, and then I just found this place. So we decided to come see it, and it had a lot of space. Overhead was good, so we just decided to give it a shot because we all live in Toronto. So it was a shot in the dark, but there was not a lot of dealers here. So we thought there's a good chance if we do good by people, the word of mouth is going to spread quickly, and, we can probably make it out here, which, we did, aside from the world going to pandemic and everything ever since we started. So I'm happy that it actually worked out. Yeah.
Well, I was very happy to find you. And as I said, it works out very well. Now, your life didn't start in Sutton. It's ending right now in Sutton, or sort of beginning in Sutton. Where are you originally from?
So I'm from Iran. I was born in 1993 in the capital city of Tehran in Iran. Then basically I was always like a good student there. Ever since I was a kid, I started talking really quickly, and I could remember things like without even trying. And so yeah, I mean, I studied until the first grade of high school, and then we immigrated here.
So, but your life was in Iran, and
yes,
your father and mother, was your father in the car business, or how did this whole car business thing start?
Yeah, so my dad was the chief engineer for one of the manufacturers that made gearboxes, basically transmissions, they call it here, and motors for other car manufacturers. So I was always with cars. I had like 100 car toys when I was like 3 years old. I did really well with
cars as part of your life. So for me, I don't really know that much. What was life like for you as a young boy in Tehran? What was life like there?
Well, I should say that the place that I'm in right now, who I am, the business that I have with my partners, it was very, very far from what I thought would happen in the future when I was a kid. And I'll tell you why. In Iran, it's very different. So it's very one-dimensional, the way I like to call it. It's a very religious country, even though a lot of people might not be religious, but the religion rules the country. For that, there's a lot of limitations. The biggest limitation is that you cannot just become anybody like the way you can do in Canada. You could literally be anything in Canada. But back home, it's either you go to university, you have to be a good student to go to university. And to go to university is extremely difficult. There's like a national test every year, and pretty much it's very, very difficult to get accepted to. So you have to prepare from literally grade one to be able to go there. So everybody's forced either to be a good student or you're out of society. And that has created a long-term historic expectation from parents to their children that it's either you got to be a doctor, you got to be an engineer, you got to be a lawyer, and there's like 4 or 5 things that you can become to be respected by society or by your relatives. Otherwise, you're just gonna be a bum, right? That's how people think. That's how people think. It's about change, but that's basically what it was for a long time.
So you're not sort of free thinking and able to dream about your aspirations, but you did have some aspirations because you did some entrepreneurial things at a young age when you were living there.
Yeah. So when I was young, aside from cars, I always like try to make these electronic kits. I would buy them and try to build them. And every little store that I would see an exhibition or a booth in like a flea market, I was like maybe 8, 9 to all the way to like 13, 14. I would always in my head would think, oh, I would love to own one of these. I would love to, have one of these. But of course, I would bring it up to my parents or anybody else. They'd be like, what are you like? How are you going to even do that? And you know what? Just stick to studying. And that's it. And the thing was, Patty, to be honest, I didn't really try to be a good student. I could remember things by just seeing them once, right? And that's why I got good marks. So then this expectancy of, oh, Hami is always, good. Hami's always getting 100. Hami's always this. And that's what everybody thought I'm going to go, become a doctor or whatever, right? And then I'm glad that it changed because we applied to come to Canada in, I think it was 2002 or 2003. It was actually right before 9/11. So yeah. And then when 9/11 happened, it became, the process prolonged from like 2 years that was supposed to be to, I think, 6 or 7 years. So we came here in 2008. My parents brought us here to be able to choose the life of our choosing, for myself and my sister.
Yep.
But I guess they didn't really expect us to do that. They thought that we're going to come here and we're just going to continue studying and all that. But, the selling line to our relatives who were like, oh, why are you leaving the country? Stay here, whatever. My parents were like, oh, no, we want our children to be free and choose the life that they want to choose. So when I came here, obviously I realized that the sky's the limit. I can literally go after business. I don't have to go to university. I don't have to do certain things that was expected of me. I can listen to music and go to school now. And and then that came as a shock to both myself and the family.
So you felt that when you got here. Did you speak English when you got here?
I got accepted to ESLB. It was like A to E. I was in ESLB. I could not speak at all, like just a few words. I could understand some writings. I knew some words. Like I wasn't totally paralyzed with the language, but I couldn't, walk either. I was like crawling,
So it's a good thing that you're a quick study because learning this language, you were 16 when you got here then?
15, yes. 15.
So you come to a new country. You are now going to be in a new school as a teenager without a language skill. Were there any Iranian kids in your class when you went to school, or were you sort of the lone person out?
No, in that school, there were a lot of Iranians. And I guess that didn't really make it easier because some of them were at that school. They were all immigrants mostly, and they spoke a little bit better English. So they would, make fun of me and they bully me and all that. One time, this guy said, like, bro, why trying to speak when you can't? Like you're making us look bad in front of all these girls or whatever, right? So that time in my head, I said, I'm not gonna stop. In a few years, I'm gonna speak better than all of you because I'm gonna say whatever comes to my mouth, whatever I know, until I make it. Because I'm not gonna feel like this forever. And so that's what I did.
I can't imagine what you're feeling, though, as a young man in a strange country, in a strange school, not speaking the language, trying to fit in. That's a lot. That is a lot of stuff going on. So I know that you met some people that we talked about. How did Taekwondo? You started doing Taekwondo. Did you start
Yeah.
doing that in high school? Was that one of the outlets that you had?
Yeah. So to give you a background, just because, as I mentioned, Iran was a very religious country. My interactions with girls, I'm straight. So my interactions with girls uh, were, on her, I didn't know what to do. Like when I came here, I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't eat lunch with them. I couldn't do anything.
Well,
So
because
for
you
that,
had never, yes, you'd never
I've never
integrated.
done it. Yeah. So then it was that was very, very difficult for me because everybody else went to proms, everybody else went out on Saturday nights, but I was always alone. I had a couple of friends that were in kind of the same shoes. So I needed that confidence, right? And I love this Korean TV drama, and there was a legend in it that did Taekwondo. So I was like, you know what? I need a place where I can belong because I don't belong anywhere else. I need a place to belong to. So I decided to go to Taekwondo. And there was this master in that class. His name was Master Ko. He didn't speak English either, right? But we had this like amazing connection that we didn't even need to speak. I'm not even kidding. He did not know a word of it. Like he would speak Korean, and that's how it was. But then I started, and we had this amazing bond where he would teach me and he would make me better. And so I started going there every single day, 7 days a week, 3-4 hours every single day. So now, because I knew people cannot bully me or I have something to show for, and I could become something that I never thought I could be or I was prohibited to be, it boosted my confidence a lot. And I wanted to actually, that was my first dream. I wanted to become a Taekwondo master and open my Taekwondo club. So I wanted to go to Korea to Taekwondo University, and then get my degree, and then come back here and open a club. That was my dream. I still dream about it, to be honest. If something happens to my business for whatever reason, that's what I'm doing. But then, so I started, going to tournaments and getting ready and try to save money, but it was very expensive, and my parents unfortunately wouldn't really support me at all. So I had to work and pay for the tournaments, pay for the class, whatever, right? Yeah.
Hami, we're going to have to go to break. We're going to pick this up when we get back because this is just fascinating to me. So please don't go away and join us very shortly. Hi, welcome back to That's My Story, and I'm sitting here talking with Hami. Where we left off, you became diligent and learned Taekwondo. And this Taekwondo for a young man gave you all sorts of confidence and bravado, something you hadn't felt since you had arrived in Canada.
Yeah, or I haven't felt either at all.
Right. So, but you're now not in school, you're doing this full time, and you don't get to own a Taekwondo studio.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So basically what I realized was that I couldn't come up with the money and nobody was supporting me. So I just went into this, and this is 3 years in doing Taekwondo. I just felt like nobody wants me, nobody accepts me. I'm such a, loser. I cannot do anything. And, I had basically 1 or 2 friends, still couldn't get girls to go out with me. And I was just passing time and doing odd jobs on the side, going to Taekwondo here and there, but I was extremely depressed. A lot of times I didn't even want to be here at all. So near my house, there was this Mazda dealership, and there was always this black car that was parked in the showroom. And I would walk for like a year and a half and something. I'm like, why is nobody buying that? And why is the dealership not getting rid of it? I don't understand. So then one day I was coming back, going to school. So I went there, I went inside, I looked at it. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? I've never seen this before. It was a really rare variation of a Mazda 3, which was called Mazda Speed 3. And then suddenly in love at first sight, I saw this car and I started reading about it. I'm like, oh my God, this is a monster. Like nobody knows this car. They call it the sleeper car. It's like a sleeper. Nobody knows what this is. And it kind of resonated to me in such a way that I felt the same way as the car inside. So that made me fall in love with it. And I wanted it so badly because I just thought it would become my temple, become my safe space. and I could get more friends. I could be mobile, go here and there, you know? So then I was not in a good relationship with my parents because I wasn't doing what they wanted, but I was extremely or dangerously depressed. And as much as my parents weren't happy with what I was doing or what I was not doing, my dad wanted to support me and get me out of that mood because it
So
was
they
just hard.
recognized that you
Yeah.
were really not in a good place.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they felt the danger.
Okay.
Just let's just put it that way.
Okay.
And then so my dad, borrowed some money, financed it for me, and I got this car, and it just lifted me up because suddenly I could, get more friends. Girls were going out with me, and it was just like and my grandma was here when I got that car, so it just symbolized something that was really important for me because my grandma was the person that always supported me no matter what I wanted to do,
And
what I
this is
said,
your
what I did.
grandmother. We're seeing a picture of your grandmother.
Yes.
To me, this is a great act of love on your parents' side to do that for
Yes.
you, to recognize that you were in a very dangerous space. And then they give you a car. I'm not sure that it was a great idea, but this car was very symbolic to you. So it wasn't just a car.
Yes. And it was symbolic also because my parents were broke. Like they didn't have money. My dad had to come up with the money. He didn't have a job. He just sold our house back home. So it really mattered to me because I was in good terms with them. I was really angry with them because suddenly they were like, oh, we bring you here. You just got to study or we don't like you. I'm like, that's not what you told me. You brought me here and now you want me to do what you want me to do. I cannot do that. That's not who I am. I want to do business. I want to do this and that. Anyways, long story short, so I got this car and it was just, doing odd jobs, going back and forth. And so, but very soon I had to pay for the car. I enjoyed a couple of months.
Right.
so
how are you going to do that?
Yeah, so I got my sales license to sell cars because that was the only thing I was interested in at that time.
Okay.
And then I was going, I was like 18 years old, somewhere around there. I would go to any dealership that wouldn't give me a car. So anyways, I was forced to get a job at Rona, just carrying cement and wood or lumber, whatever. And then I was really mad because I would try to get a job at a dealership, they wouldn't give it to me. So there's this one day that I was really angry, and you could see it in my face. This contractor that was a regular customer would come there and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on? Why are you so sad? Why are you so mad?" I'm like, "Hey, this is not what I want to do. I want to sell cars, and nobody wants to even give me a chance. I don't even want salary. Just give me a chance for a month." And then so I was just talking, and then he reaches out to his old truck and takes a business card that was completely crumbled, and you could barely see the numbers on it. He's like, "Hey, I went there once. These guys seem to be cool. They're young. Maybe they will give you a chance." So I take this card and I call the card. Maybe a month afterwards, and I was extremely fed up. And that day I was going to sell the car. I was going to give up on everything, and because my dad was paying out of pocket and I couldn't afford it, so I was like, you know what, let me give a call to these guys. So I called these guys and I'm like, "Come by, let us see you." And it was in Newmarket, and I live in North York. I had to borrow money for gas to get to Newmarket. That's how broke I was. Okay, so I go there, I get the job. Very quickly I start selling a lot of cars, and then after maybe a year, I realized that this is the first place I worked. So I didn't know what the standards are. I thought everything is normal. But in this dealership, I realized that they're lying to people. They're not disclosing certain things. And by heart, that's not who I was. And this dealership was changing me. And I could realize that because I was becoming a mean person who would go home and tell my parents, "Look, you guys don't have a job now, making money. You thought I'm not going to be anything." I was being mean to my friends, like, "Hey, I'm making more money than all of you." But then the essence, and I owe that to my parents. They always raised me to try to be a good person and listen to your conscience. So then,
how did were you recognizing yourself? Did you see yourself changing? Like it sounds like you did.
Yeah.
Was there anybody there to help you through this? Were you just on your own in this place?
I'll make an example for you, Patty. I was born in such a way to treat everybody with respect and whatever you do not break anybody's heart. Like when I was maybe 6 years old, I had this school vehicle that took me from school to home, and he was late one day. So I swear at the driver, who was like a really poor man, right? And then I go home and I told my parents, I'm like, "Oh, this guy was late. I swear at him. I said this to him." My dad is like, "What?" So my dad and we were well off. We were okay. So my dad took me in the morning, went to that guy who was there to pick me up and made me apologize. So this was built into me, hacked on me. I couldn't ignore treating somebody bad. Had this intuition telling me that you're not doing something right. And my grandma was dying when I was working at that dealership, and she would call me and I wasn't answering. So I was having all these thoughts, and then my grandma was diagnosed with cancer, died in 3 months. I could never say goodbye to her. Yeah, thank you. And so that hits me really hard. I was like, look, you're trying to make money, but she died. She was calling every day. I didn't answer every single day. In my head, I was like, oh, I'm making money, whatever, whatever. So when she died, I just quit everything because I was like, this cannot be right. Her death has to mean something. I got to fix myself. But now I had no friends. My parents were not in good terms with me. So
you were learning lessons. So you absolutely have just talked about understanding conscious, understanding the feeling of going against yourself. You were literally going against yourself.
Yes.
And going against the things that you believe.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
I mean, this is a huge lesson to learn at a very, very young age, because you're like still 19, 20, working in a situation where you're going against things that you believe. So, so you actually do quit this job, and you've lost your grandmother. So that's got to be so hard on you.
Yeah, it was extremely difficult. Yeah.
So what do you do? What happens next?
So then I was just doing nothing basically for a couple of years. I opened a detail shop. My dad helped me. He was washing cars with me. He still couldn't get a job. So we did that, but I had a bad girlfriend at the time and I couldn't afford it. So I had to get a job at another dealership while my dad was running the shop. So I got a job at a dealership called Autodome. It was this Indian father with 3 sons. The name of the dealership was Autodome, and their motto was treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Golden rule dealership. So these guys really gave me a chance, right? And the marketing manager at the time there, his name was Chad, and I consider him my mentor. Okay. My one and only mentor. So he started reteaching me everything the right way, how to talk to people, how to, be truthful and still make a sale. So he invested a lot of time on me. Unfortunately, Autodome lease was over and they couldn't renew the lease. So they had to downgrade. They couldn't have enough cars. So I couldn't make money. Anyways, I had to depart. And so then I had to leave that job, and then I focused on my own detail shop, which didn't go well. And it was just, I was back into depression because I was like, again, I don't have money. I don't have anything. So then I decided to go to college.
And so you did go to college, and then how did Unicar start?
Yeah. So when I finished college, for different reasons, I just decided to go back to car business. I just needed a new crowd to go to college and just find myself for 2 years. It was like a break. Then when I come out, the first thing I did was called Chad. And Chad was working at a Lexus dealership at the time. So he made me the marketing guy there, which was great. So I started working there for 3 months. And then he told me, listen, man, you're way overqualified. You have everything that it takes to open a car dealership. Go make your own money. And then one day get back to me with an offer I can't refuse. So it was my mentor. So I was like, all right. So then I quit. I joined one of my friends who was starting a car dealership, worked there for a year. That's why I brought Cash in. Cash needed to go to car business. So he came there. I taught him everything I knew, and he very quickly became, the man of his own. And then after a year, I had an offer from a friend of mine, my dad's, that said, anytime you want to open a car dealership, let me know. And this is the crazy part, because every time I would think about opening a car dealership, the first thing came to my mind, like, you don't have $1 for gas. How are you going to open a car dealership? So for those out there that have a dream, and my dream is still not Unicar. It was, but now I want to become the president in RAM. But even Unicar, I never thought things would fall into place in such a way that I could have my own car dealership. Never. I did not see the possibility.
And what does it mean to you? Like, what are some of the things now that you want to do that are different? How do you want to make a difference in this world with this business? And I think you want to do a new platform or something. Because what do you want to do there?
Yeah, so we decided when we started Unicar, we decided to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, no matter what, even if it means we're going bankrupt. And that's what we did. And that's why I love my partners, because they're in the same exact boat as me, same school of thought as me. But we decided to do this. This is a mother company. We have started a platform where people can join us. And if they have their own ideas to open a business, they can do that. We tell people that start working here, if you just want to work here, just leave. You have to, after a while, you have to have your own business, and we invest in it and you become a partner. So Unicar Spa, which is our detailing brand, Amir and Daniel partner in it. And the third thing, which is pretty much the most important project we're working on right now, Cash is pretty much leading the whole operation of the project, is called Car Rookie. Car Rookie is going to be a platform which is going to use artificial intelligence eventually. That I'm sorry to say this, but this is kind of true. Like, women usually feel vulnerable buying cars. You know, first-time buyers feel vulnerable buying cars. We decided to incentivize good behavior of the salespeople that have the same philosophy as us. And there are a lot of people like that, but they're always under pressure of the management of the car dealership, under pressure of making a sale, under pressure of, you know, going round by round. It's just very difficult. So this platform is going to enable people to go there and say, hey, this is my first time. I don't know anything about cars. Okay. We are going to try to talk to them and qualify them and see what would fit their needs, then connect them to the best salespeople in the area.
Perfect. And that is what you're doing. So you're using your life experience to connect people to a good experience, and you're going to honor that. Listen, Hami, it's been wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Patty.
With me. Thank you for being part of my life, because it's really helped me. And
likewise, thank you.
Thank you to all who watch us. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hami. Okay.
Thank you.